Hey people, are you well today? Chris Johnson, Motor Chat 101, and today I'm out at my entry-level training school, Washington Motorcycle Safety Training, based in Everett, Washington. We have locations all up and down the I-5 corridor, and I thought it was interesting today as I came out and visited one of our training sites. Old school chokes and fuel valves. Not really many people talk about these nowadays because most of the vehicles that we're operating nowadays are actually fuel injected, and therefore this takes care of themselves. And what it does is it changes the air and fuel mixture basically at the beginning in order to let it run a little richer and so on and so forth. And I won't get into the technical parts of that. What I want to do today is I want to go, if you do buy an older motorcycle, or if you buy a motorcycle like this, which is an XR, and it is actually a 2026 model, all right, it's got a choke and it actually has a fuel valve. So today I'd like to take an opportunity, if Max could bring the camera in closer for a second, I'll show you exactly where we're looking at. We're literally pointing down here for a second. This is our fuel valve on the motorcycle, which has three different positions. It has an on position, it has an off position, and it has a reserve position, right? Reserve is, you know, when you had it in the on position and all of a sudden you started running out of fuel, like, you'd be able to reach down while you're riding and turn it, if you knew which way to turn it, to the reserve, all right? You wouldn't believe how many times I tried that years ago and I wasn't sure which way I was turning it. So nevertheless, that's what it's for. There's also the third position is pretty much in a horizontal position, which is a cut-off. There's no fuel being run to the carburetor at this time. Now, why? Why does it have this? Well, I'll tell you why. In short, it's a gravity-fed system. The more you open the throttle, the more the fuel is going to drop into the carburetor. But even if you've turned the motorcycle off and you're leaving it and it's idled, the fuel will continue to just drip from the gas tank through the peacock, through the valve, and into the chamber for the carburetor. What does that do? Well, it will flood it. It will just drip, drip, drip. If you're walking away from the motorcycle more than 20 minutes, it's optimal to put it in the off position, right? So you don't flood that float bowl. And then what happens is people have trouble starting the bike, and it's not going because it's flooded, and it can be problematic trying to start the bike even when it's warm. So as we approach the motorcycle, procedure for us starting a cold motorcycle with a choke and a fuel valve is as follows. Obviously, we approach the bike, we inspect the motorcycle, we already did our pre-ride, you know, we've checked everything, so on and so forth. I'm making up a video for that. But in short, what we're doing now is the correct procedure for starting the motorcycle. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to come over to the motorcycle and we're going to turn that valve on. We're going to turn it to the off position to the on position. Now we're actually going to feed some fuel into the tank, all right? Then the choke is actually located right here on this motorcycle, all right? And so this is operated this way, up or down, right? Up or down. And I do believe there's a mid position as well, which is like a prime choke. So I haven't started this bike yet, so we're going to figure out which way that needs to go. The key, obviously, you don't see the key on, you've got no electronics going to the bike. And then I call this the ready to go button, the engine cut-off switch. A lot of people don't use them, but you should. All right, and here's why, because this switch is really, really useful for turning the motorcycle off, and there's an opportunity where you need to take power away from the bike quickly. You can pull the clutch in, but you can also just turn the engine off. This is also very cool for a mindset. So the very last step is, for me, turning this switch on, and that's when I switch that switch down, engine go, I'm ready to go. So we've got our fuel valve turned on, we have our power on, and we've got our engine run switch that says I'm ready to go. All right, so we're going to go clutch in. The bike could be in gear, so always safe and good best practice. Some bikes won't even start without the clutch it pulled in. Oh, my bad. I kept pressing the starter longer than I necessarily needed to. I'm not familiar with this motorcycle. And as I said, this is the challenge. They've all got little nuances on exactly how much choke they need, how much mixture needs to be with the fuel in the air, and so forth. So, you know, you're going to need to run it for a little bit on choke, just until the engine gets a little bit warmed up and it's not going to need that extra air and mixed fuel, all right? And eventually you'll be able to actually take it into the off position. Put it in the on position, into the completely off position on the choke, and the motorcycle engine died. Why? Because it's not warm enough yet. It's not ready. All right, it's not ready to go. So you might even need to start your ride with that choke, again, down here on this motorcycle. You might actually need that choke on a little bit as you start your ride, all right? So again, sitting on the motorcycle and actually familiarising yourself with where the choke valve is, so you're not kind of looking for it, because obviously if you're doing that as you're travelling down the road, that's a challenge. You're not focusing on the road and the hazards. Practice. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? And like I said, most bikes nowadays, fuel injected, not a problem, but you could buy a motorcycle like this that is new and it has the old choke system, or you know, you might buy a classic, and it's really important to think about. All right, so again, valve, choke, ignition, I'm ready to go on and off button, play with the choke, get it done. Try not to wrap the gas, you know, otherwise you're just flooding it again, and so on and so forth. Eventually this will be warm enough to the point where, you know, I can actually turn that off, and then the motorcycle will continue to run. So think about this. How do you turn it off? How do you turn it off, motor chap? I'll tell you how you turn it off. Thumb, done. Key, power. No dead battery when I return to the bike. Valve to the off position to stop that gravity-fed fuel tank dropping into that carburetor and flooding the bowl. All right? I'm going to show you one more type of motorcycle. Max, if you wouldn't mind coming around on over here. Thank you very much. Come on over here. We've got an old Kawasaki 250. All right? Beautiful old bike. Love it. I used to race these. Absolutely love them. Super fun. Again, cold bike. Not started it yet at all. On this motorcycle, I'm not seeing a fuel valve, right? There's no fuel valve. It doesn't have the peacock. It doesn't have the turn off. It's not a gravity-fed bike, all right? However, it does still need a choke, right? So if you still need a choke, you'll do it. When you assess the bike, when you're thinking about buying it, you need to take a look. The choke here, Max, if you wouldn't mind coming in closer and taking a look, the choke is right here on this motorcycle, right? On the other one we were looking at, it's down on the side. On this one, it's actually a lever. It's very clear when you look at the signal right there. You got to put it towards you for full choke. Key, as we mentioned before, I'm ready to go engine cut-off switch. Let's see if it gets, I've also the clutch again to ensure that we're not going to move because we could be accidentally being gear. And she starts right up, right? Whenever you're releasing the clutch, super slow, just in case that light, the end light, neutral light, is a liar, all right? Do not trust that light, okay? So the fail-safe is to ease that clutch out very slowly, and I'm gonna let that motorcycle warm up while I get dressed, put on my riding gear, all right? As you can hear already, the motorcycle's trying to pick up the RPMs, so I can adjust this. It's a linear, it's a variable control, so I'm gonna slide that down, go away, continue to dress, and obviously this motorcycle, once it's warmed up, that would be in the off position right there, and I'm ready to ride. Again, you're going to ask me, hey motor chap, how do you turn your motorcycle off when you've got a choke and a valve? This motorcycle, no valve. So it's just a simple case, best practice on every motorcycle, all right? Engine cut-off switch. Take the power away with the ignition because you don't want a dead battery. And obviously in this one, the choke is already in the off position because I put it back to neutral before we started riding. And no fuel valve on this motorcycle. So I hope you found that helpful with those two different types of motorcycles that we've got here at Washington Motorcycle Safety Training. It's cool if you have an old motorcycle with a fuel valve and a peacock. It's cool if you know the safe way to actually start and stop your motorcycle. And it's cool if you've got a fuel injected bike because you don't have to do any of that. You just turn the key and put the run button on and go ride your motorcycle. Thank you very much for your time. You can check us out, the Moto Chat 101 on Instagram. You can check us out, the Moto Chat 101 on YouTube. And of course, come to my school. My school is amazing. I have an amazing 17 years now. We've been doing this in Washington State. I have the best team of instructors, I believe, in the country and the world. Of course, I'm going to think that, but they really are the real deal. All our classes are available at gowmst.com. You can find us on Facebook, all right, for lots of information. In your comments and your links, put what you want to know next. What do you want to know? Riding posture, braking technique, shifting technique, group riding dynamics, all the things that we cover in our classes. We'll come here, we'll make the videos. I'll have visitors coming in, like our actual instructors will come in and work with me. My own son, Max, thank you for doing the video today. And we look forward to it. I'm here to entertain, educate, and inspire you. Thank you for watching.